Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really plunging into something fascinating, something often, well, left unsaid. What men truly crave emotionally but maybe don't always voice. And we're going beyond just opinions here. Our sources, they're taking us right into the heart of emotional truths. Last time we looked at what women are looking for emotionally. So now it's time to shift that focus directly onto men. This deep dive, it's all about breaking the silence. We're armed with insights from psychology, global reports, and some really candid accounts from our research.
Yeah, exactly. And our mission here is to pull out the most, let's say, vital nuggets of knowledge from all these sources about men's often hidden emotional worlds. We want to help you get a profound understanding pretty quickly, cutting through the usual assumptions to what really matters.
Okay, so as we start unpacking this, the first thing that really jumps out from the sources is, well, why are men so often guarded with their feelings? And maybe more importantly, what are the consequences? Sometimes they're quite surprising, right? We hear it all the time, this conditioning, man up.
Oh.
How does this actually get ingrained from childhood?
Oh, absolutely. Those phrases, big boys don't cry, be strong, suck it up. It's practically universal conditioning.
Yeah.
And the sources really stress the profound impact of this emotional suppression. It's not minor. We're talking about leading to widespread struggles, things like deep loneliness, real confusion about identity, even serious mental health crises. It's quite fascinating how global this experience seems to be.
And the data, looking at 2025, well, it's pretty stark. Our sources are showing that 3 out of 4 men find it hard to express emotions in their relationships. 3 out of 4. But here's the twist, the really striking part. A huge majority, 82%, deeply want that emotional connection. So what's the barrier? It often comes down to this profound fear. Fear of rejection, fear of being judged if they actually open up. That's a massive gap, isn't it? Between the desire and the reality.
It really highlights a paradox. And if you connect the dots here, it emphasizes that, yes, the desire for love and connection is there. It's universal. But for men, the absolute crucial element is feeling safe enough to receive it.
Safe. That word keeps coming up.
Right. And our sources define this emotional safety for men as basically a non-judgmental space, a space where vulnerability is met with acceptance, not, fear of ridicule or worrying that those emotions will be thrown back at them later.
Weaponized, yeah.
Exactly. So it really begs the question, what does that emotional safety actually look like in day-to-day life?
Okay, so with that foundation, understanding that hidden landscape, the sources then really zeroed in on the core question. What are the top emotional needs men silently crave? This is based on those global reports and therapist insights we mentioned. And this is where it gets, well, really interesting. Because it's often not what you might first assume. First up, and maybe misunderstood, is respect. People often think, oh, respect for men means like unquestioning obedience or just stroking their ego. But the sources, they show it's much more nuanced. It's about feeling genuinely valued, having their effort acknowledged, and crucially, avoiding those comparisons to some ideal standard or, someone else.
So it's about seeing them, the person, not just the performance or the provider role.
Exactly. Seeing them for who they are. Second, and this ties right back to our earlier point, is emotional safety.
Foundation.
Absolutely. It means creating that space where there's zero mockery if a man shows vulnerability. A deep trust that if they do break down, they won't be shamed for it, or like you said, have those emotions used against them down the line. It has to be a sanctuary, no judgment.
Right, a safe harbor, essentially.
Then there's physical affection without pressure. Now, some might hear physical affection and immediately jump to sex. How do the sources differentiate this? They're talking about non-sexual touch, right?
Precisely. The sources really emphasize the desire for simpler things. Hugs, a hand on the shoulder, holding hands. These are described as feeling safe, grounding, and actually profoundly affirming. It's touch purely for connection, not as a lead-up to anything else.
Okay, that makes sense. Fourth is praise and encouragement.
Important.
Yeah, the sources say men often report hearing criticism way more than appreciation. And they give this really powerful contrast. Hearing, I'm proud of you, lands with so much more impact than, say, you should do better.
It's about affirmation, isn't it? Seeing their inherent worth, not just judging their performance or potential.
Exactly. And finally, number 5, space without emotional withdrawal.
Ah, yes. The man cave idea, but deeper.
Right. It clarifies that common misunderstanding. When a man needs some time alone, it's often genuinely for recharging. It's not about running away or shutting down emotionally.
It's self-regulation. Processing time, not necessarily a sign of disengagement or that they don't care.
Yeah, that distinction is key.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is how the sources explicitly frame this. They say, these aren't weak needs. These are deeply masculine forms of emotional care.
That's a powerful statement.
It is. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, it just directly challenges those old, rigid ideas about masculinity. It shows that real strength can actually include the capacity for these kinds of emotional connections, for vulnerability. It's a significant reframing of strength.
It really is, though I imagine for some listeners, that phrase, deeply masculine emotional care, might still sound a bit contradictory.
Sure, it can clash with traditional views.
So how do the sources help us bridge that gap? Especially when we look globally, listen to what men are saying across different cultures, often, only in silence. The insights are quite moving.
Yeah.
Let's bring in those voices. From the USA, one man shared, "Sometimes I just want someone to say, 'You're doing your best,' and I see it. No pressure, no fixing." Simple, but powerful.
Validation.
Then in Pakistan, we hear something different, but related. "I feel things, but I wasn't raised to show it. If I do, I worry she'll lose respect." That fear again.
The weight of expectation.
Moving to Brazil. "We laugh and joke a lot, but that's just covering up stress.
Yeah.
I wish someone would notice what I'm not saying."
Wow. Performance as a shield.
Yeah. In Sweden, someone notes, "We talk about equality, but men's emotions are still undersupported. Even where progress is made, there are gaps."
Interesting perspective.
And from South Africa, a really concise thought, "I don't need perfection, I need peace."
Peace. It really cuts through, doesn't it?
It does.
And what strikes me listening to those is how despite all the cultural variations, you hear that shared underlying desire. What boils down to being loved without judgment? It really raises an important question for all of us, doesn't it? About how our own actions, maybe even unconsciously, impact that fundamental need for acceptance. It feels almost universal.
It really does. Okay, so understanding what men need is one thing, but our sources also highlight the flip side, which is just as crucial. Knowing what actions inadvertently break that emotional safety. What should people actively try to avoid doing?
This is critical for building trust.
Right, so the sources list several specific things. First, constant comparison to others. That's a big one.
Undermining. Yeah.
Making light of things or joking, especially when he's actually trying to open up about something serious.
Trivializing his vulnerability.
Interrupting his silence with pressure, like demanding, "Just say it," or "What's wrong?"
That shuts things down fast.
Using his emotions against him later on, maybe in an argument, that's a huge betrayal of trust.
Absolutely. Weaponizing feelings.
And finally, disrespecting his struggles, whether they're financial struggles or maybe struggles related to his identity or purpose.
These aren't just small missteps. Our sources frame them as immediate trust destroyers. They slam the door on vulnerability.
They really do.
And the sources make this point very clearly. If he opens up once, how you react decides whether he ever does it again.
Wow. That puts a lot of weight on that moment.
It highlights the incredible fragility of that trust, doesn't it? Especially for men conditioned against showing vulnerability. That single reaction can literally define the future of emotional sharing in that relationship.
So, okay, we've unpacked the needs, the pitfalls. What does this all mean for actually building stronger connections day to day?
Moving towards solutions.
Yeah. Our sources explain that men might not always use the phrase emotional satisfaction, but their actions, their responses, often show what they need. It's about being observant, maybe.
And inviting sharing rather than forcing it.
Exactly. So what are some concrete strategies? The sources suggest things like simply letting him talk in his own time, which means creating a receptive space, not demanding an immediate download of feelings.
Patience is key.
And using validating phrases. These can be incredibly powerful. Things like, "You don't have to have all the answers right now. Just being here is enough."
Takes the pressure off.
Or saying something like, "You're not weak for feeling this way. You're human."
Normalizing the emotion. Yeah.
And another big one, celebrating his emotional growth, not just praising his achievements or, the practical things he does.
Acknowledging the inner work, that's huge.
Right.
And what's really transformative, according to the sources, is the outcome of all this, the ripple effect. They conclude that men who feel genuinely emotionally safe, they become better partners, better fathers, better leaders, and ultimately better humans.
That's a profound impact.
It really is. It shows how fostering this safety isn't just about one relationship. It benefits everyone around him. It's a foundational shift.
So when we put it all together, Everything we've unpacked today, from that early conditioning to these silent cravings and the need for safety, it leads to this final truth bomb from our sources. Men aren't emotionless. They're often just emotionally exhausted. Exhausted from keeping it all in, from the performance.
That's a powerful way to put it. And the core message really is this. If you give men a space to be real, to just be themselves without fear, they'll often respond with a love that's raw, deeply loyal, and potentially lifelong. And maybe that leaves you, the listener, with an important question to reflect on. How can you consciously create more of that authentic, safe space in your own relationships, starting today?
A great question to end on. Thank you for joining us on this important deep dive into the emotional world of men. We really hope you'll take some of these insights and consider how they might deepen your own connections.